How are you this morning? I hope you guys are doing well. Always the same greeting, and I don't know what to say in different way. But I hope, everything's very well. Goes very well with you, and still stay healthy. So even though, Corona variant is kind of breaking out, but still. I talked to my friend who is Indonesia, and then he said everybody got infected in front of next house, in front of a house, people, and next to both sides of next house, and then it's really, yeah, um, dangerous, but still, they live in the situation. But I hope, everybody's doing okay. Yesterday, I went to the Indonesian church. I wanna learn about how immigrant church is doing. So I went to Indonesian church. I looked up to the churches around me, and then Googled out, and a lot of churches are in my area and other areas. So I chose one in Ajusa, and there is a couple of 4 or 5 Indonesian churches around there. So interesting, and I picked the one. They have their own network, and then it seems pretty organized very well. So interestingly, it's not a church building, and then I think it's that they buy house one by house. They bought a house and renovate the church, and there's another house next to, and then they renovated the church too, and then they bought another house, 3 houses in a row, but it's consists of a church. So I asked someone who helping me and then guiding me, and then how long you guys have been here, and then he said 37 years. So as time goes by, they buy one, and then the congregation is growing, and they, because of their need, and then buy another one, and then maybe they can afford to buy another one because of their need one, right? So interesting. So if you have money, and then you can usually in my community, ethnic community, and then they buy land and then build church, right? Otherwise, you can get a loan and buy a church. So church building, it is a different way, but they said he said about 300 congregations, and then adult is about 200, and EM is there. So interestingly, I found out that I introduced myself. I'm a Korean, and then they said, he said, my church EM pastor is Korean. So I met him, and then we greeted each other. And I said, what made you come to this church? And then he said, previously he served in American churches and Korean churches and other churches, and he likes serving in cross-cultural context. So he's enjoying his ministry there, and then it was really interesting. And predominantly Indonesians are the church members, but I chose to go. I chose to go into the first Indonesian service, and then I started learning Indonesian a little, but I stopped for a while, and then I could see some words are familiar with me, but almost 90-80% I can understand. But I can see they project every verses and Bibles, and then they use a projector, and then it helped a lot to see, and then I look up the Bible, I look up the hymn book, and then, that was a really interesting and good opportunity to see how other people is worshiping God and serving God. I had a lot of experience to see in overseas countries like Mexico and Thailand and Ghana and other countries, but still in the States, and I didn't have much experience to see. I had a chance to see, but this time it was I tried to do that, so maybe I can go back to couple more times and then go back to another ethnic churches and try to see how they are doing. But I already told you as times goes by and they bought one building and they bought another house, house and they bought another house. I can see that one. So church has kind of three property of the buildings. And I don't know, when they bought when they bought each of them, but still the property was not. It's pretty old, but still it's really good for the people, the congregation, and today I'm gonna talk about property. How can we see the property as a Christian? And what is a property? What is a property? Let's look at the definition. Property is anything that can be owned. So it means that anything. So it can be physical, like this, or intellectual. So physical means the houses and cars and kind of even small fountain pens, whether it's expensive or not. And then also like this, guinea pigs, small pets or whatever. It's from the little value to really expensive value. So that is can be property. We can see them, but some of them we cannot see, like intellectual property. And then so when you use the other stuff, and then you gotta give them credit to them, right? And quote, and that's the So you cannot make a copy whatever you want, and then you need to get a permission, or you have to buy the royalty to make a copy like this. And then intellectual property, and then copyright and patent, even though we cannot see, but it's produced by your ability of mind, right? So usually the ownership of a piece of property can be transferred, sold, or shared. It makes sense, right? You can do it, and you can sell, you can transfer like this. And if I die and I want to transfer my house to my kids, right? And as a married man, and then I shared my property with my wife. Like this. And then maybe if we need it, we can sell my house. We can sell my house to others and then move away from the city. Nowadays, California. So living in California, living costs are really expensive, and a lot of people cannot meet their needs, and then they try to move out of the state. And one of the states is Texas, and I heard around 600,000 people already left California because of the economy and other reasons. So Property right is, yeah, there is a lot of property, but you own something, right? That's a property, right? And then there is a property right. So it's, yeah, property right is, I mean, you have a power or authority to determine how the resources is used, whether you can sell, whether you can keep, whether you can transfer. That resources are owned by the government or individuals, but still there is a legal, protection and legal rules that we have to follow, right? Just think about it. You own a house, and then if you are old, just assume that you are old, and then if you just live and you don't do anything about anything about living trust, anything, and then just one day passed away, like my neighbor before, and just think about what is the owner of a house is gone, right? And the owner of a house transfer their property to their children, but there is no specific any letters, any wills, any living trust. And it's gonna be really big trouble though. So you have to follow the legal procedure, and then it takes 1 year, 2 years, and just empty houses there, and then to process and finish and sell the house. That's So if you want maybe small things, maybe you can just sell, but if you sell the house and then what, you have to pay the tax, right? Property tax. And income, earning, gain tax. And then every month, every year, if you own a house, you have to pay property tax, right? Even though you bought a house, still making payment to the bank, but still you have to pay, right? Property tax. Part of it goes to your cities, and part of it goes to the government. But still, even though it's guided by the law, and still the person who has property or the government owns the property, and then they can do something, right? That's a property right. So property right. So even though we have a right to do something, but still you gotta know how to do, and there is a legal procedure, and if you don't follow, and then maybe later you might be in trouble. There is 4 types of property right, and what is a landlord, like land, house, like it's not movable, just stay there, right? A lot of people buy, when they have extra money, and they buy a house, second house and third house to invest for their future, right? Right, that's the landlord. There's real property, and then there's a personal property, so movable, like my computer, right? My glasses, maybe glasses is lens, maybe you cannot use it, but still frame you can use it. Maybe you can sell in the also, as a used, and then you can sell it, right? That's a personal property, and then I have my phone, cell phone. I can sell like this on $200, even though it's 2 years old. Like this, that's movable. So wherever I can go, I can take it with me, right? What about trust? And trust is a way of managing asset, money and investment, or land or building for people. So different type of trust there, and then taxes imposed in different ratio. So you gotta know that, right? It's a real. It is. Think of the what is it, the inheritance, right? How much you got inheritance, and how much you have to pay. You got the large amount of inheritance, you have to pay back a lot, right? And pay the tax, and then that's why a lot of the rich people try to avoid the paying tax, and they in the law, within the law, they try to do little by little to avoid paying the tax, right? There is a different tax rate, so you gotta know that. And what about the intellectual property? So there is this is a four kind of property say there usually, and I don't think about it what you have. What you have. Do you own a house or any real property immovable, right? Yeah, I have a house. That's one. But yeah, we have a lot of personal property and then trustee. Yeah, and if you die, so I already made a trustee, right? Uh, if I die and suddenly die, what's gonna happen on my house and my, I don't have much money on my bank account. I don't have, not much. Barely have any money on my bank account. And then still, if something's happened, and if there is no any beneficiary, and then they cannot do process, otherwise maybe bank gonna take it or just turn to the government like that. So trust is really important in American life. So living in America. So I don't know if you have something, and always think about making living trust with your lawyer. And maybe if you don't use the lawyer, you don't have to use the lawyer. And nowadays, and if you go into website, the services provided, I don't know, but I had a lawyer who doing the living trust, and then before I decided to do it, and then she educated me about living trust, right? And then she gave me time whether you can do or not. So that is one of the benefits there. You can do it with a lawyer, but if you don't know about other laws or stuff, and then you don't care about that one, you wanna just set up that one, and you could use the online service. Here is a different type of real estate, immovable, right? A single apartment and multi-family houses, take the residential, and what's a commercial? And office building and retail buildings, and that's and industrials, and then the logistics, the warehouse like this, right? And that is all real estate property. And then what is a land? Land, right? Properties without any buildings. So there's three kind of big categories of three types of the real estate: the property, and residential, and commercial, and land. What about the two basic types of trust? Revocable or irrevocable? So revocable means that you can change it. Irrevocable means that you cannot change it. You cannot throw away, right? Just there's a. And revocable means the plans for the mental disability, or avoid probate, or assess that the trust make a bond into trust, right? That is a revocable. And trust the creator can name someone else to take over the management, right? And that honestly you can do it. And then I made a living trust, and then there is my daughter some beneficiary, and there's a settler. So settler, if you don't now, long time ago, and they already set the settler. So if you are old, and then make all trustee, and then as you appointed someone. If I die, and then you can take care of all this, and then by the will, by the trust, and they admit the whole process to execute the trust, living trust. That's people, and then trust maker reserve the right to dissolve the change of the trust at any time, right? So if I can, I can change it any time. So sometimes they change the beneficiary, and my friend, he has two children, one is a daughter, and was his son, married, and then before he married, and then was a son and daughter beneficiary, right? But just think about they married, and then something's happened, and if his son died all of a sudden, and then what are you gonna do, right? And then they kind of change it to if we goes all the things spouse, and then he specifically changed if he dies, and then the trust is go to what? His grandchildren, like this. You can change it like this by the law, within the law, right? There's a revocable, but irrevocable means the move or set out of the trust make a name, and that you cannot do it, right? And control eventually transfer to the next generation they use, and you can maybe if you already did, and then but you cannot change it, right? And something's happened. And another thing is that if you may trust it, then you cannot take it back, right? That the beneficiary you cannot change, and what you cannot take it back. That is a basic types of your trusted. Revocable, but vocable. Actually, it's just one. So they divide in what can you do, what can you cannot do, right? What about the intellectual property? So 4 types of intellectual property, and then there's a patent. If you invent something, and then you want to keep your as your property for 10 years or 20 years, and then you gotta get this one and apply for it and get the patent, and others cannot copy yours, right? Exactly. Like a drug too. So just think about it. We take Advil, and then maybe patent is 10 years, 20 years. After 10 years, and then now we are drug company, a manufacturer made with a different name but same ingredient, right? It's really cheaper. And just think about it, and small bag of Advil, about 30, 40, 30, 20, so there is it's like $30. And but if you have we call it generic, because my wife is pharmacist, I know that kind of stuff. If it's a generic, it's not the original, and then patent is come expired, and then other drug manufacturers made it, and then that's like $1, $2, like it's really cheaper. So if you go to Costco, and then you can see that one. Edible, so original is expensive than the ibuprofen and other stuff, right? That is the generic. The patent is expired, and other drug manufacturer make same thing, the same ingredient, right? trade secret is valuable information that is not publicly known, right? Sometimes that is intellectual property. That it's really complicated. One of my friend and revealed that relate to that one, and he got yes sentence to not to come back to United States. Because his company sued him, and then there is investigation there. So I don't know what's going on exactly. That is So sometimes it was the spies there. Some of them sell the information, secret information. They sell the secret information to other country. They got convicted, right, like that. Also copyright, like CDs and books, and you cannot copy, right? Maybe you can copy some part, but not for your business, but for education and different way. You can give them credit, but you cannot sell them, right? That's a copyright. But when I was in Korea, and then as a copying a book, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter at the time, and whatever is a popular book is here, and then they can copy and then they sell, right? It's really cheap though. I didn't know at the time, and then I didn't have any mind of copyright, so usually we did a lot. So I don't know, by the law, and I never learned about copyright, and nowadays, and you gotta be careful though. So if you don't sell, it's okay. But usually, I just buy a book and copy the nine copies and 10 copies to give them others to study. I don't do it though. We can do it, but I don't do it because it's not a business. And then because of the copyright, I respect their time and energy and the effort, knowledge, and then I asked them to buy a book, right? And then we can start it together like that. So that's why, I try not to copy the programs, softwares, and then, buy. That's the change after, since I came to United States, and then when I was in Korea, I never thought about it much. Trademark, and there is some logos and designs and symbols and phrase and word marks and any other things, and then you cannot copy exactly, right? And just think about it, a lot of pseudo brand, and then there's it seems exact same brand. It was a famous brand, but you can see that there is a little difference, right? And they're not gonna get sued though. They cannot copy, and but they use kind of different way. But still, a lot of people use the exact same logos and trademark to sell in cheap price, right? That's why they are copied the police, and they got convicted. That is an intellectual property, right? So what is about our attitude about the property as a Christian, for Christians? What is the biblical perspective of the property? And based on the Dr. J. Richard, and then he used like Dr. Walter Kaiser. he is really distinguished Old Testament scholar, and then he organized about ownership and property in the Old Testament economy, and he introduced a lot of stuff with Dr. Kaiser, and then Kaiser said that here is it was a creation that God, the Creator, committed the world and its resources to humanity. Do you remember the Bible verse? Let me see. Supposed to be here. God, and it was because the man and woman were made in the image of God. It's verse 27. And God, and they were commanded to subdue and the created order and the exercise dominion over the whole of it. As a result, God granted dominion to this first human pair under His law, but He did not grant His sovereignty to them. For God alone is the Lord and the only sovereign over all. It's a really important verses, and then God created human being, and then give them the whole universe, and then take care of them, subdue, and then take care of them, right? That's the human being was steward to take care of the world, right? But eventually, who is the owner of the whole world? God. But there is a covenant between man and human being, God and human being, right? So if you, I think I copied the verses, but I cannot see it. I put the note, but I cannot see. Maybe that is we gotta know that. And God created everything, but God is the owner of the universe, but God committed, entrust all things to the human being, under human beings' management, right? So human beings are stewards. So two of the 10 commandments assume that the right, property right. So Exodus 10:25, you shall not steal. And Deuteronomy 20, you shall not set your desire on your neighbor's house or land. Anything that belongs to your neighbor. That's a commandment that respect the personal, private property. Don't steal. Don't have any desire for your neighbor's belongings, right? So we acknowledge that people can own their own property, right? Based on the Bible verse. And speaking, Exodus 12:15, Kaiser said, within this commandment, you shall not steal. Not only was the principle of individual ownership recognized, but also regarded as a criminal or attempt to be taken the property from the person fraudulent way, and then to then guard as one's own. So if you in a wrong way, if you take others property, it's a crime. It's criminal, right? It's a crime. So just to protect the person, private property, and then that the ownership is there, and then set the law, right? So just think about it. Kaiser, he First Corinthians and 9 to 11, he cited as evidence that human beings are entitled to appropriate reward for their labor. Yeah, this is what makes make holding wages so grievous in the Bible. Doing so is condemned in Leviticus. So, yeah, if they work hard, you gotta pay for it, right? It's really important. And if you don't, there is what? It's really, if you do that and let them work for you and you don't pay for them appropriate wages, and then it should, it's not law. No, it's not right? It's condemned in the Bible. So fairness and justice demands the proper pay for the honest labor. That's one of the principles that in economics, right? Fairness and justice. Maybe we can talk about next week in business section, and then if you work, if someone work for you, you gotta pay right. Don't hold up the wages. So property can be acquired through a lot of different ways, and then maybe you can make it, and if you work hard and save money, and you can buy, right? That's a property, and then maybe you can get inheritance from your parents or your grandparents, like that, but we. As a Christian, look at the Bible, and then industriousness and wisdom and the development of the insight very important. When you manage your property and possessions, right? If you are idle and you're not just like if you read in Luke chapter 15 and two sons' story, prodigal son, and then if you are lazy, if you are not enjoy your life with your inheritance, your property, it will run out soon, and then you nothing left, right? And you're gonna be big trouble. So virtues like industriousness and wisdom and development of insight to manage property, right? And so with the industriousness and wisdom and development of insight for your property, that is the stewardship. And as a steward, if you have manage your property very well, and steward mean that you are not the owner of the property, right? You are just managing. Steward is kind of authority is given to manage your property, but it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you, right? The property doesn't belong to you. So, Christian can live our whole life as steward, right? That is our basic concept of the property. I know we work hard, we buy own stuff, but it's not for ourselves. And we are the steward and who taking care of God's property. oh, it's not easy though, right? It's not easy. A lot of people, some people, try to live with these principles, and the others usually try to hold everything and then use for themselves, use for their children. They don't think about society, they don't think about the people are struggling with life, and really, a lot of people agree, really, really greedy, right? So greedy people never thought about others. Only self, they are only self-centered. They said, oh, this is, I made it, this I got it from me, and this is mine. So, and private property, whether it's a gift or a certain type of, God's powers, is entrusted to humanity as a steward, right? So I don't know whether you have, what kind of things you have. Maybe some of them you are really, you have intellectual ability to do something, and some of them you are really have, maybe some of you and have business skills, and some of you have academic, and some of you have not the specific skills, but you have to work for industriousness, and then diligence, and then work hard, and just whatever you have, we can use that one, right? Through that, and then that, even though we work hard, we did something, but that's not ours. We are steward, right? That is a basic principle. And Dr. Art Lindsay, she little organized, and then easily, maybe we can quick review the Dr. Lindsay's about property, and she said that Exodus 19:5, and all earth is mine, and Exodus 9:2-9, and then earth is the Lord's, and Leviticus and 25:3, the land is mine. Ultimately, God is the ultimate owner, but has delegated stewardship to his immediate human being, like the same as a kite, right? And he has called them to dominion and rulership over the all he has made. Same, right? So he carefully preserves what? The right of individuals to keep and use their land and property. It's from God. It's a wonderful privilege to take care of as a steward, right? It's not for own you. You can use them for yourself and your own need, but it's not for all of our own your needs, right? So stealing is not unique to Asian Jews. And Old Testament scholar Walker Kaiser note that Rome made this crime one that was punishable by death. And so if you steal others' belongings, and then it will reflect after Roman societies reflect the biblical values, but it's really harsh, right? It's really important to respect the personal properties. New Testament, Jesus kind of reiterated some of the Ten Commandments to reach young rulers, and then okay, don't, still he said, do not steal. But think about it, he has a lot of things, a ruler, and then Jesus said, okay, sell your own property and follow me. And then you're going to have eternal life. And then he has a lot of property, and then he's worried, concerned, and he went back. But just think about the Zacchaeus who met Jesus Christ, and then he promised love and hope for the restitution those who he had defrauded, right? That's by the law. That's the law, right? No, twice. I think it's twice. And then, but he's going to do double. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Look at that's a different concept of the prophet, right? And before you know the Jesus Christ, and if you don't recognize yourself as a steward for the kingdom of God, and then maybe everything is you are thinking about everything for yourself. But like Zacchaeus, who met Jesus Christ, and he paid him more, and then he did more, right? Look at the Paul. He said that, it's not just don't steal, but it's more than the what? Love your neighbor, what? As yourself. That is more than that. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you cannot steal, right? It's more than just the Old Testament, right? I law say, okay, you could have, and then you can pay back twice and like that. But the Paul said it, and no, it's not. So look at the what Jesus Christ taught, and then based on that one, what love neighbors as yourself, right? And Paul said it, 1 Corinthians 6-9, look at this, stealing is not really prohibited. And then he said it, Paul, habitual thieves as those who will not inherit the kingdom of God. Paul clearly stated, he who steals must steal no longer, but rather he must labor, perform with his own hands what is good, so that he will have something to share with one who has needs, right? So stealing others is not good. Nowadays, stealing is a lot of in different ways. Maybe you can use political powers, and sometimes you can use economic powers, right? Just think about it. If you run business and then you don't pay for the proper wage for the labor, and then you are the stealer, right? So, as a Christian, we gotta know that even though there is a personal properties there, and if you look at the Acts chapter 2 and 5, and even though they voluntarily they sell the property and share the property with others, right? That is a kind of a controversial, and then respect, and then sell the property and share to others, and then, but still, think about it, how can you use the property? And Paul said that give generously, right? Give generously to others or the societies. If you have more, try to give more. But think about the businesses and society, and then nowadays they made a lot, and they wanna evade what the tax, and then they make their own foundation, and then that's a non-profit, and you don't have to pay the tax. They store them, right? Sometimes, and they don't wanna pay the tax, and then what? They make investment. So I don't know. Just to think about the Amazon. Amazon is a lot of popular for internet shopping, and then I don't know whether you guys read about how they treat the workers. This is really horrible. So I can understand how what happens, because I ordered, and some products are coming 24 hours, some products are coming 2 days, at least 3 days, and some products, there are a lot of different process, and how workers are working hard and fast, right, to satisfy the customers. I know for that, and they charge for your membership, your private membership, right? But I don't know how much their gains goes to workers. His wealth is that the owner of the Amazon is wealth is wealth is in the world, right? How can you practice our ownership as a steward, as a Christians? I know maybe you have 3 houses, and you have a lot of personal belongings, and then you have, and how can, some of you guys, you don't have enough, and you don't have any property, maybe, I don't know. How, regardless of whether we have or not, and as a steward, and some of them is really smart to develop something, and some of them is they work hard, and then regardless of their gift, regardless of the ability, and regardless of how much you have, how can we practice the biblical principle of ownership about property, right? First of all, and then we recognize that all belongs to God, right? It's not from us. It's not for us. It belongs to God. Just think about you work hard, right? You save a lot, and then you buy and become a millionaire and multi-millionaire, and then when you die, and then you're gonna take anything. There is a Bible said it. One of your parables Jesus said it. They all, the rich people, rich guys think about himself. Okay, I have a lot of harvest, and I'm gonna make more bigger barns and storage and save there. I can enjoy the life. But what if God takes your life all of a sudden? Never thought about the rich people and the rich guy in the Bible, and he thinks that his life will go on forever and ever. But when you die, you're not going to take anything. Maybe your children enjoyed your inheritance. Maybe it's beneficial for your children, sometimes no. It's killing your children. Just think about a lot of people who have a big inheritance, but they are not healthy mentally and psychologically, right? They are struggling in life. They don't know what to do. But practice that all belongs to God, and then whether you have more or not, have or not, and then you can you can see others' need, and maybe it's not that much, but you can show willingly. To understand the responsibility of the steward, Bible said someday we're gonna stand before God and He's gonna judge us based on what we have done. There is a judgment, two kinds of judgments there. One kind of judgment is the what? Believers and non-believers. The believers goes to heaven, non-believers go to eternal hell, right? But if you become a believers, and then there is a judgment too, based on what you have done. So understand the responsibility of stewardship, okay? If you there is a talent parable in Matthew chapter 25. Once we stand before the masters and what he's gonna count, maybe you got a 5 talent, you got a 2 talent, you got a 1 talent. What is the attitude about that one? 5 talent, 2 talent, 4 talent, 2 talent, they work hard and left the same amount of their talent, but 1 talent, maybe I just got 1 and you're not right person, kind of wicked master, because you don't work anything for me and then you just give me money and you're gonna get the profit from me. He understands in the way, and then he just keep the money and then give it back to the master. He doesn't understand the stewardship, right? Stewardship. We have different ability though. Some people can manage a lot of property. Some people cannot manage a lot of properties. It depends on God entrusts all things to you, and then you gotta manage very well. Not for yourself, only not for yourself. For yourself and for your family and for the society, right? And society. And identify your personal right and expectation. So think about it. What kind of ability, what kind of right you have, and what is the expectation is there. Just think about it as a mother, working mother, as a father, working father, right? What are you doing there? What are the expectations there from families, from husband, from my wife? What can you do there? What is your right can do? In your workplace, as a citizen, we're gonna know that one, right? Identify personal right and expectation. Another thing is yield right and expectation to God. It's really hard. It's really hard. If you don't yield your right and expectation, always go more and more and more. You really goal oriented to achieve something, and even though you make a lot and you cannot enjoy them. I mean, the enjoy them means that responsible to manage very well. You can use some of them is for yourself, with others and societies, right? So yield right and expectation to God, and just think about means that how can I use this property that I have? If I use in that way, and then people acknowledge it, he's man who serves God, and praise God, praise the Lord, right? And how can we practice our right and expectation to, yeah, how can we practice yield our right and expectation to God? And then identify your personal right and yield your right to God and transfer ownership to God and thank God, for whatever happens. Whatever happens, and then sometimes, good things happen, sometimes bad thing happens. Because we are stored, right? Always life consists of ups and downs. Life is not all of a full of joys, sad, right? Worries, but there is a delight. But our journey is not a short journey. It's not 1 year, 2 year. Just think about it. And when you eat your right, and always test is coming. Test is coming. What if I eat my right to God, and just think about you lay down your expectation before God, and then think about it. It's full of worries. You worry for your children, your family, for your work, your health, and a lot of things. There's challenges. Some things that doesn't go with your plan, right? But still, as a faithful servant, whether it's good, whether it's or not, and deal with your angers, and sometimes you don't understand. You yield my right to God, and but I'm I'm suffered because of the injustice, all kind of stuff. And you are worrying about the future, and you give something and I don't have enough, and you are worrying about future, but you gotta resolve all things. We are, you are steward. You are the owner. Owner is, all our property. Your owners, all our property is God. That's our perspective. Nowadays, it's a lot of happening in the stock markets, and then I don't know whether you're directly involved in GameStop, and then maybe you heard about a lot of short squeeze, and then some people make a lot of money, some people lost a lot of money because of that one, and a lot of debating about also investment like a stock and selling and buying is really biblical. What do you think? A lot of people nowadays, and that's a personal choice, and then nothing wrong. But a lot of people think that nowadays, and especially Christian leaders a lot, and think about what's going on inside of a stock market and investment, and then that casino of Wall Street. Just think about casino means. It's a gambling place. Yeah, it's really interesting. There is gambling, there is investment, and there is speculation. I read an article about always, and when I grew up in Korea, and then there is a speculation is not that good one. So by the law, a lot of people who have a speculation, and they are convicted, right? And that is not that is not healthy in society, and people. So we're gonna talk about, I don't study much about that one, but I want you to think about your investment as a Christian. But we gotta know the speculation and gambling and investment. It's not you just say sometimes, and speculation and investment is produce a good in society, but sometimes, mostly, speculation hurts society. So, I want to talk about investment and speculation. Gambling, it's not acceptable for Christians and like Muslims too. That's a natural law. Gambling is not a proper way that you can make wealth and your gains, and that is luck by luck, and there is lack of your stewardship and lack of your labor. I know you people labor for the gambling. You don't sleep and steadily sitting holidays and betting and No, I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. And then it's not we don't have a good good thought about the gambling, right? We don't think that it's good. We don't think it's good. So let's understand about speculation and investment, how it's different. And speculation, the act of conducting a financial transaction that has substantial risk of losing values, also holds the expecting of a significant gain or the major values. So there is really risky, right? It's really risky, but you're gonna lose a lot, or you're gonna have a big gains. That's speculation. What about the investment? Investment is an asset or item that is purchased with the hope that it will be generate income and appropriate in values at some point in the future. So that is a generate the speculation, and there's a risk, lose or win, big win or lose, right? But investment, it's not a one day, it's not a month, but if you buy something with the hope that someday I'm gonna get some dividend and I'm gonna make a little bit higher gains, right? Appropriate values from that one in the future, because times go by and then your values are accumulated and getting higher, right? But speculation is a distinct activity from investing. So investing is it's a long term, for the long term. So investing involves the purchase of the asset with the intent of holding them for the long term. Speculation involves attempting to capitalize on market inefficiencies. They take advantage of the inefficiency of the market and for a short period of time, very short, maybe 6 months, 3 months, like this. Sometimes not that long. That's a big difference. Ownership is not goal of speculators, but investors often look to build up the number of the asset in their portfolios over time that have the ownership, but speculators and then they hold something up. What they don't think about the ownership and just to sell and buy and sell, buy and they hold a short period of time of the ownership, right? So we cannot say that they don't have the ownership. But investors have ownership because they are thinking about long term, right? Although speculators are of making informed decisions, speculation cannot usually categorized as a traditional view of traditional investment. They can make gains and then create the wealth, but they separate from the investment. So speculation, I already told you, generally considered a high risk activity than the traditional investment. So some experts compare speculation to gambling. Depends on personal view. That's a big difference. So time-wise is different, and long-term, short-term, big risk is there, right? But traditionalists, they don't think, they think about it and okay, if I buy this stock, this bond, and then company gonna use my money, they gonna invest in the business, and they gonna produce some wealth and gains, and then they're gonna share it with the stockholders. That's a traditional investment. I thought about it. I didn't know about the stock, and then I think they are. So once the GameStop and then AMC happened, before that happened, I always think about, okay, if I buy the stock and company gonna use my money for their business, and then sure, I thought that way, but after GameStop happened and AMC happened, and then was a short skate and all kind of stuff, and then I learned, oh, it's different. Usually, when you think about the investing, and this is a Christian view, and then when you invest, and there's we assume the economic growth, and Deuteronomy 8:18, but remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestor, as it is today. So usually, God gave us ability to create what? Produce wealth. So with this perspective, and then also our investment supposed to be what? Create and in long term and create economic growth and contribute to economic growth, right? As we already saw that stewardship is one of the big things, for the property, right? Just a little bit different way that we can see that people who are engaged with this area, and then Mills said that Western Christians have relinquished the stewardship of our savings to intermediaries such as fund managers, and bankers. Mills believe that suppose we had to manage our property and take care of it. But sometimes nowadays we are thinking about investors and specialty and expertise, and then we give them all things. Our give up our what is it, our authority, and then give them to the bank or fund manager, right? That's why nowadays there's a lot of hedge funds and bankers, and they use our money. And if you invest through the finance institution and like management groups, and then they can make a lot of gains, and then you can make a lot of money, right? They don't think about behind. If I make a lot of money, it's okay, but it's not. Just think about Christian perspective. And myths believe that tax system encouraging of debt will increase risk of ownership stake, and cause individual to diversify and dilute their stewardship interest in any one form. It means that just think about it. Tax system is like this. Okay, 30% of your income you have to pay tax, 20-30%. They will not pay the tax, right? And then instead of paying the tax, what? They borrowed a lot of money and invested more. They will not pay the tax. In the kind of system, right? Keep doing. They mean that. Now just think about and the limited liability nature of publicly traded stock ownership and market liquidity make it difficult for shareholders to discharge their stewardship responsibility. Who's gonna do that? I know if you have a stockholder and then a main stockholder and board members, and then they have to listen to you guys, right? But if you are not, and then just a regular stockholder, and then they cannot do much as long as you sell your stock. So the point is that as a Christian, just think about how you manage your property, right? And how you produce more wealth and gains. It's a sound just based on the natural law, your morality is a good or not. The natural law based on the morality is from the Bible. That's why we need to think about our investment. But there is always that now this whole statistics shows that nowadays we don't know how much people are thinking about long-term investment, which produce wealth gains. Just exchange a lot of people nowadays, and maybe a couple years ago, 10 years ago, and we bought the stock through the brokers. You cannot buy like a Robinhood, right? So, Bogle said that the institutional pension fund, the mutual fund, the insurance company, and the endowment fund ownership of US stock has reached 8% and 7%. 45 it was 80%, but now it's 7%. It's a lot of people are investing their money on that, right? Why the average holding period of the typical stock in mutual fund portfolio has fallen 9.8 9.9 years to, well, year. Usually they hold the stock 5 or 6 years, but nowadays, well, 1 year. So he characterized this change as a movement from the own a stock to a rental stock. It means that, in other words, the movement from the investing to gambling. You don't think about long term and just, oh, right? Sit and then sell and buy and sell and buy and sell and buy. It doesn't produce the economic growth. But whether long term or short term is always risk is there, right? So the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes said, invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Always, risk is there, but higher risk or lower risk. So when you invest, then think about 3 things, right? Whether you buy, if you have an investment, and then whether maybe 5 years, 6 years, and 10 years, the risk is there. But as times go by, and even though you don't much gain, you don't have make much gain, but still you want to make a gain. It creates economic growth, and then storage. Because if you invest your money, who has ability to produce economic, wealth, and they can use your money. That's why economic system is going on, and it's beneficial to both and who's a businessman and investor and society, right? That's a healthy investment. And so basic attitude is about stewardship, but we are losing the stewardship. We don't want to take, and we are always looking bigger gains, right? And then try to turn away from the healthy way to like gambling. What is gambling? Gambling is love of money, from the love of money. Some people eager for money have a wander from all face to pure, and pierce themselves to many grief. It means that they want to make a lot of money, but it's not healthy way. Maybe you can go to casino in Las Vegas, and then around every city. Nowadays, a lot of casinos in the city, right? But they think that they hope that they can make a lot of money, but go there and you lost everything. And sometimes, really broke the families and divorce, and wives got hurt and children got hurt and irresponsible families, and a lot of happening, right? Lost everything. But just think about it, and gambling, difference between gambling and investment. Gambling is typically very short-term bad, right? Just think about Las Vegas, the slot machine, and blackjack, and all kind of stuff. You don't think about long-term, on the spot, right? And create a lot of risk, but you don't know what happened, and it's a zero-sum game. Nothing, produce nothing in terms of wealth. That is what gambling is there's always a loser and winner, right? Just think about people doing the blackjack on the spot and they betting and they don't create any wealth and transfer the money, right? You bet 5 chips and you bet 10 chips. If you and you got the 5 chips and if you lose and just lose and someone gonna take your money and if you win and you gonna take others' money. Just transfer. No, yeah, creating wealth. So some believe that gambling preys on the poor and those who become addicted and contribute to crime and should be abolished. Yeah, that's classical view that usually think about the gambling. Yeah, I have still this kind of point of view too. So yeah, Kuni Baba and then concluded the combination of the concept of stewardship and influence of Christianity in common law, the similarity between Christian and Islam, and they have a really similar point of view about. And gambling have work in union in caused conventional finance and Islamic financial to have a similar objection to the gambling and speculation. So based on our values and even Islamic Muslims, they have the what? They don't agree with the gambling and they don't agree with speculation. That is not a virtue that we pursue. That's based on our value, right, from the Bible. So gambling is a zero-sum game, right? Yeah, just transfer the wealth, monies, and then there is not creating anything. So we gotta know that there is a positive gain, positive sum and negative, the zero sum. Sometimes a negative sum, right? Negative sum is you lost everything and you are in debt, right? Positive sum game is like a business and then try to run the business and produce what profit. That's a positive. But like a corporate bond and on the stock and they like just think about AMC and then they issue certain amount of those stocks to get the investment from the investors, right? Financial investor, and then but nowadays, because of the speculation, and then more than billions stocks out there. It's called synthetic stocks. It's not issued by the company. Illegally copy and made, and then they sell it. Yeah, so just think about gambling. It's not it's a zero-sum games, right? They don't create any economic growth and any creative. Just on speculation is between uh, long investing and gambling. So between like can you speak? Yeah. This is investing is there, right? And even though you invest money and sometimes in a short period you may lose, but in the long term, you're gonna get the gain that you are expecting. Maybe a little bit less, but gambling is clearly not creating any gain. I mean, in gain in the in the market, they are transferring the money, But between these is it's a short-term invest, but the gambling is this is speculation. Speculation. So nowadays, it's just think about Wall Street and just think about daily trading volumes. Do you think so all is about long term? Not really, right? So nowadays, and most of the market trading volume liquidity is provided by the speculators nowadays. And speculator can be considered a trader with a short-term view, but constant trading helps determine the value of the financial instrument. But it's hard to, that's why it's hard to argue that speculators do nothing. They contribute to something like, do you know the diagram? The problem with the speculation and excessive speculation law and analogs to the problem with interest and usury. Interest can further economic growth and right is accumulate and create economic growth, but just usually mean that what is that one? Usually you can take advantage and just use them like and unethical, right? It's not yours, but kind of lending so stuff as yours. They don't create any interest. Just think about if you are investing, then you can think about, okay, if I $1,000 invest in this company, and then you're gonna get every year 10% gain, like interest. But if you use the speculators, and usually speculators lending is unethical, right? So speculation provides liquidity and price discovery, but excessive speculation distorts the price and you could exacerbate bubbles. That is what is it? GameStop and AMC. One of the big examples. But speculated to provide a benefit to financial market, ups and downs, and they behind. I can learn something, but they control the price in different way, and then, but the problem with the speculator pop up from the time to time. I don't know whether you guys heard of the Orange County was a patient that they got bankruptcy. And they got bankrupt, and they don't have any money. They lost everything. And there is Orange County in California, long-term capital management, and Bearing Bank, AIG. It's a lot of things happened because of speculation. It's not healthy. on society. And because of that one, a lot of companies died because of manipulation of the speculators. There is this we call derivative investment, derivative investment. And derivative investment contract between two or more parties that based on the underlying financial asset. The derivative are used by the traders speculate on the future price movement of the underlying asset. They used was a market inefficiency, right? Just think about GameStop. Analysts said because of pandemic, GameStop and AMC, they are gonna close down. They're gonna bankrupt, right? GameStop, you cannot go outside, they cannot get together and cannot play the game like the traditional way. They use that one, take advantage of the situation and So derivative investment gives them a lot of asset returns. Just think about underlying asset and just a little bit, maybe $10, but this investment is $100. Now there is think about it, and derivative investment like nowadays like short squeeze, and then they do it like this, and it's not unethical, and not we don't agree with it as a Christians, and then that is kind of hurt a lot of people, the poor people, and people try to invest their money a little bit. Maybe they are speculator too, right? They don't think about long term, and they want to make a lot of money in short time, and then so a lot of people got bankrupted through stock exchanging, right? There's an article from New York Times, like opinion section. It's like gambling with the economy. I got some part of the articles, and Wall Street's purpose, you will recall, is to raise money for industry, to finance steel mills and technology companies, and yes, even mortgage. But the collateralized debt obligation involved in the Goldman trades, and like billions of dollars of similar trades sponsored by most every Wall Street firm, raised nothing for nobody. In essence, they were simply a side bet, like those casino that allowed speculators to increase society mortgage wagers without financing single house. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Are you gambling, or are you investing? Just think about property that you have and how you manage as a steward. You want to make more gain through gambling, or you want to make in more gains through a healthy way to as a, contribute economic growth, contribute to society. But gambling is a hurt to society, hurt people, right? There's a lot of people are fighting with the hedge fund companies. Somehow they know that it's not right. So a lot of presidents try to deal with it, but just think about who is making money through the hedge fund companies. Who has money? If you wanna get into the company membership with that one of your one of the couples made about $300,000. That's the top. At least one of the couples $300,000. How many people are making $300,000 per year? How many percent in the United States? So I know sometimes money produces more money, but still I don't know there is morality based on the Bible still, right? So remember that we are stewards of what we have, right? All belongs to God, not ours. So try to use with your wisdom and with your diligence, and then try to develop more insight and use your property for the good, for others, for society, and for yourself, right? Maybe if you may not agree with me, but as a Christian, I want to see the society is healthy. I want to see society is in justice. I want to see society is fair to everybody. Even though I know there is no hope that what I'm expecting. Just think about nature of human beings. But if you have a sound mind as a Christian, and think about how you are doing with your property. Maybe you can make more money through gambling or speculation. Maybe you're happy with that one. No, don't do that. Don't invest your money on that one. My story is that my wife, and recently, because of the GameStops and because of the AMC, she learning about stock and she buy the stock. And then she got influenced a lot by billionaire. Who is the name? Prof. And she's thinking of she's always thinking about investing, based on the long term, and try to produce the wealth for the society, for the company, and for the others, and then so try to screen out which company. When I buy the stock and just see the company, even though the company make a lot of money and she doesn't buy, and I don't agree with buying the stock. I don't know what kind of stock she's buying, and then she's searching, and there was kind of attractive stocks, and about she read about the whole company, and then if the company is kind of involved in marijuana and other stuff and then paper and she's not buying. She didn't, she didn't buy the stocks like that. And just think about as a Christian how you practice investing your property in virtuous way, and even though we cannot change the society, but as a Christian, we are a steward, and you gotta live out with stewardship, right? Yeah. That's a property. That's to talk about the property that is nowadays is really hot potato in society in where's the finance world, and then I heard a lot of things in Lincoln or Clinton, and then what, and where's the Obama and try to deal with, but it's hard. It's hard. They cannot do anything. They always just think about system. If we think about system, it's really pathetic, but I don't know. Even though it's pathetic, we don't know what it seems. There is no hope, but still practice our faith, practice our values. That's Christian's life. Okay. Next week, we're gonna think about the business. I know I never done the business, but still interested in business. But we're gonna talk about with a Christian perspective. Okay, have a great week and take care of yourself very well, and God bless you.